So now we are going to move on to our second sponsor keynote, which is FIRE, a fifth-generation blockchain bringing a paradigm shift. FIRE is a communal response to finding technological solutions that are communally centered. Speaking on behalf of FIRE is founder and CEO of FIRE.org, Pratik Gowri.
So, a very good morning, everybody. So, I'm Pratik, the founder and CEO of FIRE. We'll start with a small introductory video. So we at FIRE, so it's pronounced as FIRE, but it stands for the Fifth Industrial Revolution. So it's a concept that I started promoting about 15 years back to prove the thesis that you can actually make more money if you do more good to the world. So the more good you do to the world, the more money you make. And to prove that thesis, what I did was I set up 8 multi-million-dollar businesses in the past. This is my 9th business. And in this, what we've done is we've created the world's first sustainable blockchain ecosystem, which for the first time we have invented our own consensus. So we don't use proof of work or proof of stake. Instead, what we've done is we've embedded the UN Sustainable Development Goals into the consensus. And we have scraped data from 650 ESG sources, environmental social governance goal sources, to basically come up with a layer 0 infrastructure, Web3 infrastructure. And when you build a decentralized application on top of that infrastructure, or when you ride on that infrastructure, you go from a for-profit paradigm in the age of 4th industrial revolution to a for-benefit paradigm in the age of 5th industrial revolution. So we are ideally transitioning the whole world from a for-profit economy to a for-benefit economy. The end goal for us through this whole infrastructure is to create 1 billion millionaires and impact 1 billion people positively. That's what we stand for, and that's why we've started the company. So basically, as you can see, we align performance with sustainable development goals, which for the first time in history, we have come up with a consensus which kind of does that. We are an infrastructure, and we have 5 components in the sustainable blockchain ecosystem that we have. The first is our flagship product, which is a layer 0 blockchain, which I just mentioned, which has a unique consensus, and of course, that's one of our secret sauces. Second, we have our own wallet. So our own wallet, basically, has the ability to enable financial inclusion for 1.5 billion people who don't have access to traditional banking facilities. So we are kind of trying to enable financial inclusion which traditional banking hasn't been able to achieve. And the the cool thing about a wallet is you don't need hexadecimal addresses. A lot of the people still are unable to use blockchain or unable to get used to cryptocurrency because they still don't understand the way the technology works. Since if you talk about Web 2, everybody here uses Facebook and Instagram, but you don't know what goes behind the technology. You can easily do DMs, etc., which makes the adoption very, very easy. In the case of Fire wallets, what we've done is you don't know what goes behind the scenes, but you can actually transact. You can actually send any virtual assets, any NFT, anything, any cryptocurrency directly through mobile numbers. So that's our wallet. We have our own $100 million venture capital fund. So that's a third component of the ecosystem. We have a fourth component, which is a digital university. So we have come up with the world's first digital university in the blockchain space, and we have actively partnered with universities across the world. And we're trying to educate young people on how to build decentralized applications on the blockchain and in the end hire them into our workforce. So that's what we are trying to do with our fourth component, which is the blockchain university. Then the fifth component that we have is our own venture capital fund, which is a $100 million fund. So those are the 5 pieces that we are activating using the Fire blockchain ecosystem. Now how are we? What have we done so far? So this is about the consensus, which I just explained. But what we have done so far is actually we have activated 4 stakeholders which have never currently activated any of the other layer 0 solutions, whether it be Ethereum or Solana, collectively. And what I mean, we are working with government, so we are one of the exclusive blockchain partners to Government of India. We are working on smart policing, predictive policing, land registrations, arms licensing, and building solutions with the government. We have a couple with the United States. We have the Nigerian government, the agriculture government coming on the blockchain. So we're getting deeper and deeper into government. So that's our first sweet spot, which we have targeted to enable the transition from for-profit to for-benefit. Because if we have to do that, we have to work with stakeholders which have the ability to activate humans at a large scale. Second is Fortune 500 companies. We're already working with Huawei and actively exploring partnerships with Booking.com and a bunch of other Fortune 500s. We are working closely with billion-dollar family offices to activate capital, large-scale capital towards impact. We also host some of the world's largest family office summit. The last one we hosted was just before COVID hit, and it basically had a small room. We booked a small room in the UNGA. 150 people in the room, collective wealth of $2 trillion to be mobilized towards impact investing and the ESG metrics. So that's what we are trying to, the way we are activating family offices. The fourth, we have our own NFT and metaverse marketplace as well, so that we are activating a lot of celebrities across Bollywood and Hollywood, and we are actively partnering with both Bollywood and Hollywood for that as well. So that's pretty much on the adoption side. The funding journey that we've had has been pretty phenomenal. We raised our first round back in October. We did a $21 million round at a valuation of $110 million. And then we now just secured a $100 million commitment again, which puts us in a valuation north of $1 billion, kind of puts us in the category of one of the fastest growing companies of the world. So these are pretty much our large-scale adoption, which is happening at scale. As I mentioned, the end goal for us is to power the 5th industrial revolution, powered by Fire. So basically create the 5th industrial revolution, prove the thesis at large that you can actually make more money if you do more good to the world. So the infrastructure that we've been able to create facilitates that. For instance, if somebody is using geothermal energy versus me using coal, they get financially incentivized and rewarded through our consensus for following that sustainable practice. What that means is it basically forces the world to kind of only make money if they do good to the world, and that's what the thesis of the 5th industrial revolution is all about. And since we're activating stakeholders at large, the end goal for us is to become a default ecosystem ecosystem, a default ecosystem when anybody talks about sustainability. So where we want to be in the next 2 to 3 years is if anybody wants to build a decentralized application, if anybody wants to build any kind of stuff around Web3 and they want to be sustainable, if they should be building on top of us and not on other layer zeros or layer ones. And if they do that, then the end goal for us gets activated, which is to create 1 billion millionaires and achieve financial inclusion at a very, very large scale. So this is our team. Some of our partners, as I said, we have partnered with a lot of large-scale stakeholders, and we're one of the first companies to do so in a very short span of time. We've just about to turn a year old, and we've kind of been managed to do that. We've been in all media, almost everywhere, Forbes, Entrepreneur, CNBC, TED, etc. Yeah, so that's pretty much about what we're building at Fire, and we'd love to invite you to be a part of the 5th Industrial Revolution, that the journey we've taken. We are sponsoring events across the world. Right after here, we go to World Economic Forum in Davos. We are title sponsors to the Goal 17 Partners Lounge there. So if anybody wants to be at Davos, happy to speak. Then we are also going to host a Fire Summit at the UN in September, where we want to officially announce the eclipse of the 4th Industrial Revolution and dawn of the 5th Industrial Revolution, powered by what we've kind of been able to do, and bring all the top solutions that we are currently activating. Our testnet is already live, and we are testing solutions with large stakeholders like governments, family offices, Fortune 500 companies. We will be presenting those solutions at the UN. We will also then, after that, we will be doing a sponsorship at the Nobel Peace Prize Forum in December. So we're going to all the top events across the world to activate large-scale communities like the one sitting in this room. And I feel blessed to be a part of all of you. Thank you so much.